Close your eyes. Imagine there are no cities, no electricity, no walls, no police, no hospitals, no maps, only darkness. A darkness so complete that the stars are the only light above your head. You are sitting beside a dying campfire. Beyond its tiny circle of light stretches an endless forest. Every sound could be your last. A twig snaps, leaves rustle, something moves. Your heart begins to race. Was it the wind? Or was something watching you? You don't know. And that's exactly what terrifies you. Because 50,000 years ago, not knowing could kill you. Your ancestors didn't live in a world of certainty. They lived in a world where every shadow might hide a predator. Every strange sound might be a warning. Every unexplained event might mean death. Their greatest enemy wasn't always a lion. Sometimes, it was uncertainty itself. And that single problem changed the course of human history forever. Today, most of us sleep behind locked doors. We check the weather on our phones. We switch on a light with one finger. We understand lightning. We know what causes earthquakes. We know diseases aren't curses. Yet something strange still happens. A loud noise still startles us. An unexpected shadow still makes our heart skip a beat. A nightmare still feels real. Why? Because although civilization changed, the human brain didn't. The world transformed faster than evolution ever could. Deep inside your skull lives a brain that was designed for a completely different planet. Planet filled with predators. A planet where caution meant survival. Scientists sometimes describe the brain as a prediction machine. Its job isn't simply to see reality. Its job is to predict danger before danger reaches you. And that tiny difference explains almost everything about human fear. Imagine walking through tall grass. You hear movement. Your brain has only two choices. Choice 1, assume it's the wind. Choice 2, assume it's a predator. If you're wrong the first way, you die. If you're wrong the second way, you only wasted a few seconds running away. Which brain survives longer? The paranoid one. Over thousands of generations, nature rewarded the people who expected the worst. Not because they were smarter, but because they survived. That ancient survival system still operates inside every human alive today. It doesn't care whether you're sitting in an office, driving a car, or scrolling your phone at midnight. Still scans your world, looking for danger. Psychologists call one part of this tendency the negativity bias. Your brain naturally gives more attention to threats than to safety. One insult hurts more than 20 compliments help. One failure stays in your memory longer than 10 successes. Not because you're broken, but because your ancestors couldn't afford optimism. Missing one predator was far more dangerous than missing one beautiful sunset. Your brain learned that lesson millions of years before the first civilization ever existed. And it never forgot. But then, something even stranger happened. The brain that evolved to detect predators started detecting intentions. Think about lightning. Imagine you've never studied science. You have never heard the word electricity. You don't know what clouds are made of. One second the sky is calm. The next, a deafening explosion tears across the heavens. Trees burst into flames. Rain floods the land. The ground shakes beneath your feet. If you were living 50,000 years ago, how would you explain it? Your brain desperately wants an answer, because uncertainty creates fear, and fear demands meaning. Many cognitive scientists have suggested that humans naturally search for agency behind mysterious events. In simple words, our brains often assume that someone or something caused what just happened, not because we're irrational, but because assuming intention was often safer than ignoring it. If bushes move, it's safer to imagine an animal than to assume nothing is there. This survival shortcut helped our ancestors stay alive. But once it existed, it didn't stop working only on animals. It expanded to the entire world. The wind, the rivers, the mountains, the stars, the storms. Everything suddenly felt alive. Everything seemed to have purpose. Notice something fascinating. Children naturally ask, who made this? Who did that? Why did this happen? Our brains are uncomfortable with randomness. We crave stories. We crave explanations, even when none are obvious. Anthropologists have long explored the idea that this search for meaning may have played an important role in the earliest forms of spiritual belief. Not as proof, but as one possible explanation for why humans across many different cultures began asking similar questions about unseen forces. Different civilizations reached different answers. Different traditions formed different beliefs. But the questions were remarkably similar. Who controls the sky? Why do people die? What happens after death? Why are we here? These questions echoed through forests, across deserts, along rivers, long before history was ever written. And perhaps, the biggest mystery wasn't the universe itself. Perhaps, the biggest mystery was the human mind trying to understand it. But fear alone doesn't build civilizations. If belief only existed to calm frightened minds, human history would have ended around a few campfires. Something much bigger happened. Something that completely changed our species. It wasn't stronger muscles. It wasn't sharper teeth. It wasn't a bigger body. It was the ability to believe the same story. Imagine two strangers meeting in the wilderness. Neither knows the other. Neither speaks the same language. Both carry weapons. Both are hungry. Should they trust each other? From an evolutionary perspective, the safest answer is no. For almost all animals, a stranger is a threat. Your brain still works this way today. When someone unfamiliar suddenly walks behind you at night, your body becomes alert before your conscious mind even thinks. That reaction isn't learned. It's ancient. Your amygdala, the brain's alarm center, doesn't ask, "Is this person good?" It asks, "Could this person kill me?" That tiny difference explains thousands of years of human behavior. Small tribes survived because everyone knew everyone else. Trust wasn't complicated. You watched people grow up. You hunted together. You protected one another. But as populations slowly grew, a new problem appeared. How do you trust someone you've never met? How do hundreds, or thousands, of complete strangers cooperate? No wolf pack can do this. No chimpanzee troop can do this. Even today, most primates can only maintain small social groups. Humans became different, not because our bodies evolved faster, but because our minds discovered something extraordinary. Many historians and anthropologists believe that shared beliefs became one of the invisible forces that allowed large human societies to form. A shared story, a shared identity, a shared purpose. When thousands of people believe they are connected by something greater than themselves, cooperation becomes possible. You don't just protect your family anymore. You protect your community, your culture, your civilization. Whether those beliefs were spiritual, cultural, or symbolic, they helped strangers become allies. Not because everyone looked the same, but because everyone believed they belonged to something bigger. Now think about one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. Göbekli Tepe. Hidden in modern-day Turkey, this ancient site is over 11,000 years old. Older than Stonehenge. Older than the Egyptian pyramids. Long before cities. Long before writing. Long before organized governments. Humans gathered enormous stone pillars weighing several tons. How? More importantly, why? No one knows for certain. Archaeologists still debate its true purpose. Some believe it was one of humanity's earliest ceremonial sites. Others think it served different social functions. Whatever the answer, one thing is undeniable. Thousands of people cooperated on a project that offered no obvious survival benefit like hunting or farming. For creatures supposedly focused only on daily survival, that changes everything. Think about what that means. Imagine convincing hundreds of exhausted hunter-gatherers to spend months moving giant stones, without modern machines, without metal tools, without money. Why would they agree? Because humans don't only follow food. They follow meaning. Meaning can unite people, even when survival alone cannot. That may have been one of humanity's greatest evolutionary advantages. Not bigger muscles. Shared imagination. This is something no other known species does quite like us. Money, countries, laws, corporations, human rights, even nations. None of these physically exist the way mountains or rivers do. They exist because millions of people collectively believe in them. They're shared ideas, shared agreements, shared stories. The famous historian Yuval Noah Harari often argues that humanity's greatest strength is its ability to cooperate around shared beliefs and imagined systems. Whether one agrees with every part of that argument or not, it highlights something remarkable. Humans can organize around ideas on a scale unmatched by any other animal. But here's the strange part. The same brain that helped us build civilizations also created new fears. Because once you belong to a group, you also fear losing it. Imagine being separated from your tribe. No shelter, no protection, no food, no one to warn you about predators. In the ancient world, isolation wasn't loneliness. Isolation often meant death. That fear became deeply wired into the human brain. Modern neuroscience has found something fascinating. When people experience intense social rejection, some of the same brain regions involved in physical pain become active. Think about that. To your ancient brain, being excluded wasn't simply embarrassing. It threatened survival. Perhaps that's why criticism hurts so deeply. Perhaps that's why loneliness feels physically exhausting. Perhaps that's why acceptance feels so rewarding. Your brain still believes that belonging keeps you alive. And maybe that's why humans have always searched for something larger than themselves. Family, a tribe, a nation, purpose, community, something that says, you belong. Because deep inside, your Stone Age brain still whispers, don't face the darkness alone. But history wasn't finished changing us. As civilizations grew, our fears changed with them. The predators outside the cave slowly disappeared. Yet something unexpected happened. The ancient alarm system never switched off. It simply found new things to fear. And that's where the story becomes deeply personal. Because the greatest threat to modern humans may no longer be outside the cave, maybe inside the mind. The predators disappeared. The forests became cities. The campfires became streetlights. The caves became skyscrapers. Everything around us changed. Except the brain. Your brain wasn't designed for deadlines. It wasn't designed for emails. It wasn't designed for social media. It certainly wasn't designed to compare itself with millions of strangers every single day. Yet every morning, that's exactly what we force it to do. Think about the last time your phone vibrated. Without thinking, you reached for it. Not because your life depended on it, but because your brain wanted certainty. Who texted me? Did someone reply? Did I miss something important? This isn't weakness. It's prediction. Your brain hates uncertainty. It always has. 50,000 years ago, uncertainty meant predators. Today, it means unread messages, job interviews, relationships, the future. The danger changed. The brain didn't. Imagine walking into a room where everyone suddenly stops talking. No one says anything, but instantly, your mind begins creating stories. Were they talking about me? Did I do something wrong? Do they dislike me? Notice what happened. You had no evidence, only uncertainty, and your brain rushed to fill the gap. Because the human mind would rather believe a frightening story than accept having no story at all. Psychologists sometimes describe this as the brain's constant search for patterns and explanations. Connects dots, sometimes correctly, sometimes incorrectly. That ability helped our ancestors survive. But in modern life, can also create unnecessary fear. One unanswered message becomes rejection. One mistake becomes failure. One bad day becomes, my life is falling apart. Not because reality changed, but because your ancient alarm system never learned the difference between emotional uncertainty and physical danger. This may explain why anxiety feels so real. Your body doesn't know the difference between running from a predator and worrying about tomorrow. Your heart races. Your breathing changes. Stress hormones flood your body. The same survival system activates, even though you're sitting safely in your bedroom. Your ancestors escaped lions. You escape notifications. Different world, same brain. And perhaps, this is why humans continue searching for meaning. Not because meaning removes pain, but because meaning makes uncertainty easier to carry. Throughout history, people have searched for answers in philosophy, in science, in religion, in community, in family, in purpose. Each person chooses a different path. but the question beneath them often remains surprisingly similar. How do I make sense of this world? That question is one of the oldest parts of being human. Here's something remarkable. Despite our incredible technology, we still tell stories. Children ask questions before they learn mathematics. Adults gather around films, books, ideas, not because stories feed the body, because they feed the mind. Stories reduce uncertainty. Stories organize chaos. Stories help us understand ourselves. Maybe that's why every civilization, no matter where it appeared, created stories to explain life. Not because humans were foolish, but because humans have always searched for understanding.